Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's topic, we'll be discussing about Linux server troubleshooting. Now, I can see that a lot of people already joined, and I hope that other will be joining soon. But we'll be not waiting today. I want to keep it like very on to the topic, and we'll get started now. Anyone joining, they can just start from the beginning and watch it. Okay. So in this session, again, we'll be talking about Linux server troubleshooting, right? And I have already created a very good looking dog, to be honest. I hope you guys will like it. Okay, and we'll go through step by step and discuss Linux server troubleshooting. Okay, and if anyone have any question, feel free to ask in the comment section. I will definitely answer that. Okay, I can see. Okay, a lot of people joining. Hey Kalyan. So yeah, keep the questions coming after. As soon as I'm done with the demo and explanation, I will definitely answer all of your questions. So keep it coming. Now, in Linux server troubleshooting, what we'll be covering? We'll first cover, is it still relevant to do Linux troubleshooting or not? I'll be covering that very carefully. Then we'll talk about the very common issues first. Okay, storage issue, high CPU memory usage issue, logs issue, and then monitoring alerting. Because whatever issue you find, it will be around these four topics only: the storage, IC memory, logs, and monitoring alerting. Okay, one thing I'm not covering in this because I'm going to cover dedicatedly, that is the networking part. So I didn't cover in this this session, but I'll be covering in depth in my future session. Okay, so now, is it still relevant to do system debugging or Linux system debugging, to be more accurate? Now, why I'm telling that? It is the age of modernization. Okay, we are utilizing visualization, utilizing modern DevOps tools, we are utilizing serverless computing. So let's go with the virtualization as example first. Okay, so in the virtualization, in the main OS, above that we are utilizing as a guest OS. So main OS, we have no direct access to main OS. So in virtualization, above that there is a guest OS, which normally a cloud service provider or any cloud service provider normally give to us, and there we run our commands and do all the stuff. Anyway, I'll be showing demo that will show what I'm talking about. So that's on the virtualization part, that is the server level of clouds. You can say the cloud service provider level virtualization part. Then even better than that, these days tools like Docker, Kubernetes, this gives you more flexibility via containerization. Okay, so in containerizaton, what happens? You have your code, you have your all all your dependencies, right? You are encapsulating all the dependencies. Could be binaries, could be some package dependencies, whatever it is. And with the actual and combining with the source code, you are containerizing it to making sure that container will run anywhere in the world if run with the certain parameters that you supply. Okay, that's what you do in containerization. With that, doesn't matter what OS it is. Okay, it has to support the containerization and it will run the image that you supply. So there is virtually no need of, if any problem happening with the OS or system, you just simply use the new OS or some new system. You do not use uh, you do not use the existing though, like anything. Suppose you have one server in say AWS, just for example. Okay, in AWS you have one Linux server. You got some credit from Azure, and those guys saying, "Come to us, we'll give you $1,000 credit, 2,000, maybe million." You attempted by that. Now, if it was not a containerized application, and it's a normal monolithic app, you have to like all the binaries, daemons, everything. You have to move to the other cloud, and that is so time consuming, so error prone. You imagine what I'm saying. Now, what if it is a containerization? So if you're containerizing it already done, okay, you have a Docker container for the application. You simply move the Docker image to the new cloud, maybe Azure, could be GCP, and then you run the application, making sure all is going fine, and that's it. Less problem. You're not worrying about fixing the problem what you're facing in the new OS or new system or new machine, whatever it is. You do not care. That is the reason I covered it. That is it even relevant? I'll be coming to there also. Now, what about the modern DevOps tools? Now, in DevOps, it's so much improved. So many technologies these days. We just like every second something new is innovating, something new is developing, right? Now, there. There are the popular examples such as Terraform, Ansible, Shift, Puppet. Now, and I'll talk about the Terraform. So Terraform is a infrastructure as a code tool where you can dynamically create the infrastructure, servers, storage, networking, whatever you like to run the like whatever needed to run the application. You can create all that in a just running a single command. And if you do not want anymore, you can simply delete it, right? And if any problem, suppose you're running application and any problem happens, you can simply from destroy from there and just freshly start. Then the problem might immediately be solved, all becoming why it's not a permanent solution. Similar to the like Ansible, Chef, also like similar way, you can just delete all the servers. If any problem happening, you can create one, okay? But that's like a bandage solution. That's not a solution. It's not that is not solid ground. It can happen again, okay? The problem, suppose having some memory leak was happening, it was so much memory that is utilizing, and within few hours the app's going down. You delete everything, you start again after few hours, it will get down. Similar with the continuation. In continuation, suppose similar way, for some reason, maybe some logical problem, logical loophole, or maybe memory issue, the memory getting filled, or maybe CPU is getting really high usage, the container getting down within few hours. You can create a new container, you can change the host, like maybe change the instance to another place. But if you don't fix the reason why the problem happening, how you're supposed to fix it, right? So you have to find out the root cause. Now, that is where I'm telling it's still much more valid to do the debugging, because while debugging you'll find out what's the actually is happening. You'll find out maybe some folder getting filled, maybe the logs were getting in, could be anything. I'll be covering to the reason anyway, but the reason can be anything. You have to find out the root cause, you have to fix the root cause, then only it's a permanent solution. Now in tech there is no such permanent solution, to be honest, because something sometime may become. But think about that. It's not will happen not like in the next hour or 2 hour, 2 days or 3 days, 1 week. You don't have to worry. And I'll be coming to that also, like how to do all that monitoring and advanced stuff, how to handle that, all that I'll be coming. Now the third point is serverless computing. Now, what are the serverless computing? You might already have heard about AWS Lambda, GCP Azure functions, Iron.io. So these are the service providers where you don't provision your infrastructure. You don't provision. You don't care about managing the servers. You don't care about managing the storage. You just have to supply the parameter. I need 1 GB RAM. I need like this many API calls, or maybe I need this much RAM. I just need it. That's it. You don't configure anything. All this managed, like any patching, any security, all managed by the cloud service providers. There you might also say, Sandeep, that see, I'm not managing the infra. Any problem can happen. So still, you are running in some server, right? Some problem happening. You still need the running logs. Then collect the logs and then process. Some command not be working. Maybe memory getting high. Maybe the CPU usage going high. You have to monitor all that. You have to collect the logs. You have to from the logs. You have to find out what is the problem, right? That all you have to care about. Now that is the reason the Linux troubleshooting is very very important. Now we'll go one by one, very clearly, very slowly. I'll go. If anyone not having any issue in understanding, do let me know in the comments. I will definitely handle that. Okay. Now the first issue we'll be discussing about today is the storage issue. Now, what are the usual way you'll find out there is some storage issue happening even before you actually do some hands-on. So you don't have to go into command line and check, find out what's happening. This has some symptoms. Okay. Suppose you're trying to upload a file, that file is not getting uploaded. The file is not even creating. Okay. Normally Linux server only use. In case of you host an application, right? So the application not able to upload the file, not able to create any file. Some processes are not able to run. You are not getting the expected result. The web application that you're trying to access is giving you some 500 errors, maybe 503, whatever is the error you're getting, you have to fix it. Now, you have to understand maybe it could be a storage issue. Now, how to confirm this is a storage issue? you have to go to your Linux command line and run sudo df minus h, and will show how many percent is used and how many percent of your storage is remaining. Now let me show you guys how to do it. Now for this demo, we'll be utilizing my AWS account where I'm running a Ubuntu instance. See, for you maybe Ubuntu, CentOS, whatever the instance type it is, Linux command and model is common. So don't worry about like it might not run in my machine. Not like that. Linux is common kind of command. So you can just install the additional command and you can still run it. So let's connect with it. Simply connect, and I have already created the like the keys and all everything. So let's just go here and let's try to log in by SSH. Okay, done. So it's a Ubuntu machine. Okay, and suppose we are running an application, somehow like the application not able to create any more files, process are not running properly. Could be any issue, to be honest. First step is to check there is enough storage available. Because if the storage is not available, nothing gonna work properly. You just believe me, you will like crazy. Nothing is working. That is situation. Simply run one command, that is tf minus h. Just that, and see. I think maybe you guys having any problem in viewing. I'll just increase a bit the fonts. I think that's enough, guys. Okay, so let's look at it. So I can see how much percent is used. See, 19%. Where is the main volume? 7%. So the where you might have the more storage, you want to focus on that part first. So in my case, it's root volume having 7.7 GB, out of which used is 1.5. See, it's giving some human readable, right? Because we are giving this flag df minus h. Suppose you want some more machine readable, then use df minus I. It will be more like same percentage kind of data with you can say human readable format, that is this one. Okay, now here suppose here in the root volume, like all data getting filled. Now you have to understand why the hell is getting filled. I mean, otherwise how can you like, if you don't know the root cause why it's filling up, and you can see what is the biggest file. This is like a trick you can think. Find out what is the related problem. Okay, now I have a command for that, and let me show you guys what was the command. So the command is that you can see that you can run either of them. Okay, sudo du minus that is dash a and the directory path and that, or you can give the another one, that is sudo du dash a then the rest of the things. So anyway, the document I will be giving it to you guys, and don't worry, you will be getting in my LinkedIn account. Like I'll be posting in LinkedIn tomorrow morning. You can get it from there. Okay, so no worries. Now let me run the command and see which folder had the more memory usage. Okay, not more storage usage is happening. So let's do that. I have already, let me just clear this one. Okay, now let me run it again. I already had run it. See, this is the one. So it's just checking in the root path, and just checking is not able to go to the process folder anyway. See, so which directory is using the most one is listing to us, right? And then based on the value, we can go and debug, like find out what is the problem, what is the biggest file there. You will understand that. Okay, now that is that, and you can do the debugging and then fix it. Now there are many reasons why it can happen, and to be honest, it's like see, like it can happen for any reason, but the common path is like this. You just go and check which folder have the more files, then again go to that folder inside, then check which folder again have that it, and in that folder you find the file and delete it, or see which application code creating that, and fix that problem. Okay, that's how you usually handle or fix this kind of issues. Okay, now that is about the storage issue. Now in the storage issue, if you have any queries in mind, like Sandeep, how can you fix that on this, you can simply ask me in the comment section. I will definitely answer that. Okay, now let's move to the next issue. Okay, so another very common one, to be honest, that is the high CPU or memory usage. Now this is a scary one, to be honest. The storage part is more scary, but it is also scary, because storage part, once the file actually get created, uh, until unless you remove it, it is there. Okay, but CPU case, suppose the processing is like it skyrocketed for some reason, maybe sudden traffic, could be any reason, usually some sudden traffic, and in that case you see spiked up, and now it can there can be any problem also for that also reason could be spike up. But once the problem fix and maybe what the process is done, it goes down. So there is a like a way, or you can say the final way to automatically come down. So that's a kind of relief. It's not a permanent relief, just a temporary one. Again, the spike can happen. Again, you can get calls from clients, say fix it, fix it, fix it, and you have to fix it immediately anyhow. Now, okay, so now think about that. How to find out? Like, how the hell you can find out what is the problem? Because if you don't find out the problem or root cause, how can you fix the problem, right? Now, before going to the problem and finding part, what like how are the symptoms that there could be some problem? Like, why is that happening? One of the the popular problem or can say symptoms are like application or process getting very slow. Simply think about the use case in your laptop. If you run too many things getting slow, right? The loading, this like application loading and processing and clicking even is very slow, isn't it? Similar way, if the CPUs or memory getting all utilized, that particular Linux server will slow down. Okay, and that's it's pretty obvious. Another one, another like a symptom, what could be like you normally again we use for web hosting. So in web hosting, the web application or the API that we normally host in the Linux server, somehow that giving us like it usually supposed to give us within some microsecond like ms 100 ms or 9 ms kind of thing. It taking seconds or maybe minutes. That's a red flag. You have to you have to think some problem in the CPU or maybe in the memory. Now, how to find out, I will show anyway, but develop your way of thinking, because the problem could be anything. Even no one knows until you find from the logs and the find from the your fact finding. Uh, till then you cannot tell, but you have to understand what could be the problem: CPU, RAM, storage. Otherwise, from where you start beginning the debugging part, right? Now that is the reason you have to if you say it's getting slow, the API responses or the web application in general, the loading, the processing getting slow, think it's a CPU or the memory. Now, another common one is request getting timeout. So, which is kind of similar to the slow response, because in this case, the response is not even coming. Your browser or maybe your the application that is based on the API or service is waiting for the response, was not coming, and finally the request getting timeout. That is no more response coming up. That is one of the hell of the problem. Now that is also one common symptoms of the CPU or the memory is less. Now this means high getting used and less availability of free messages. Now there is a command is htop or top, which tells us which program or process using how much of CPU and how much of RAM. Using that simple tool, we can tell, okay, this program, whatever the programming you're running, maybe you're running Python, your Node, your maybe microservices, whatever it is, maybe the Docker system, whatever it is utilizing the most of the resources, we'll be able to find out by running a simple htop or top command. Now htop is more better UI, that's why I use it. Top is also works similar way. Now let me show you one real demo, like how can you find out, and then from there you can tell, okay, how much is the usage. Now let me switch it to my CLI. Let's clear this guy, okay, and reconnect. Okay, our system loaded. I mean, we SSD the system. Now simply run htop. Now if you don't have htop and you are a Linux user, either will be yum or whatever the package manager you're utilizing. You say Linux, Ubuntu, then apt like sudo apt get typo. Okay, sudo apt get then htop. Install htop. See, since it's already installed, it's not installed. But if it's in case for your system, could be Mac, could be Linux, could be anywhere, whatever Linux you're kind of was you're running, install it, and once you're done with it, simply run htop. And the moment you run, okay, it gives us like how much CPU person is getting utilized. Suppose you have 10 core CPU, then you will see 10 CPU or CPU 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the number of CPU you have. Then memory, similar kind of how much memory can be utilized. Swap memory how much it utilize. But the most important part here, okay, what is the most important part is the like which process, command or process application, whatever it is utilizing how much of memory and how much of CPU. That is what most important. Based on that only, you can simply tell what program like eating our Linux server, and then you can stop that to find out, okay, terminating that process is freeing up my system. Now then debug it and fix it, then again run it. Okay, you can do all that, but finding is more important than fixing, because if you don't know to find the problem, what the hell is supposed to fix? You need something, right? That's why using simple command can save you a lot of more time. Instead of going through this and that, you simply run and say, okay, this is the application that is causing the issue. Let's stop it for the down, or maybe fix it directly in the code and then just retry it. Whatever is your, you can see your whatever your workflow are, you should do that. Normal cases, what we do as a seasoned engineer or programmers, we make a copy of that image, because it's some kind of production application. We should not directly do anything like that, because it would be risky. We make a copy of this particular Linux server, the image copying. Then we run that as a standard instance. We try out like running, is it anymore utilizing same memory, or is having same issues, or it fixed. If it's all going good, we create a new launch configuration or template, whatever utilizing at the moment, and then we replace with this running image. That's how we fix the problem. Less downtime, less problem, less risk. Okay, if you are running production workload, you have to think carefully before doing anything, because see, one small mistakes, a small bad command can do make horrible situation, and you don't know. Of course, I'm not telling about the commands you know, but if you're copying from some other places which you never run, think about those cases. It's much better to run in a standalone place where it's not affecting our production users. Then if it's all working good, okay, simply like make an image and replace with that. That's how it will fix it. I hope you're quoting it right. So better be safe than sorry. That's my point. Okay. Now, someone telling that need that image copying method. Now it's not a rocket science. Let me show you. Okay. Suppose I'm using this Linux instance. Okay, just for example, AWS. Now all cloud has a similar kind of way. Think about, if I know in AWS, we'll know how to do in the there also. Now this instance, if you go to storage, and you can see volume ID, simply go to volume. You can make a backup of that. That's one option, or you can go to from, I think from the instances also we have a AMI creation option. Let's see create image. There's an option called create image. Just simply right click, then image and templates, create image, and see all will be automatically configured. Just simply name like backup Linux AMI. Okay, and you can see, you can just no reboot enable, it will not reboot anymore, those kind of things. And you can click on the create image, it will create the image, and from that image you can again run a new instance, and you can do all that. It's very easy. Okay, uh, that's there. And I hope you guys getting it, like how easy it is to do find out the reason. The small problem sometimes to search here and there. Just look at what is the source, then you fix it. That will be much easier. Okay. Now let's come back to the document. So that's the high CPU part. Now the logs issue. Now, my God, if you don't, the logs issue are kind of very complex one. The reason I'm telling, because people at the beginning don't even know that there is some logs issues happening, and the moment they open the logs, it is like a horror film with them. And the moment they see it, like, oh my God, what is the data? What is this and what is that? That is what the reality are now. And the one of the very common thing is that logs file are very huge. Sometimes it's not humanly possible to go for all the things. Okay, and of the most common problem, log files getting big. There are multiple GBs. Suppose your Linux system, the Linux server, have 10 GB of storage. and it's like some application log you're storing, okay, and that log getting added and added. Once you like suddenly you see your application not working, the memory getting like all the storage getting filled, no file getting created, and you're wondering where is the like where the all this storage getting eaten away. And right now you all know, like in the first few slide I've shown how to know that where you the biggest files and what is the biggest space, like which directly utilize the most spaces, right? And that we can find out the root cause, and you'll find with the logs, say var logs. So in the var logs in the Linux, you have all kind of logs. I'll show, don't worry. So there you will see, okay, this log is eating away all my all my data. No, not data, all the storage. Then you have to fix it. Now how to fix it? There is a popular tool called a log rotate, and this works really well. Now even better than that these days, like normally what people are doing, they're utilizing maybe log rotation similar kind of tool, and then what are the like last 30 days logs, if it's the critical or important log, they're copying the log to the S3, and if they really need it they can utilize the glue with Athena and or maybe log inside, and then getting the proper valuable data from the logs, okay. That's what the people are doing at the moment. Now there are other tools also. After this slide I'll be covering like what are the popular tools available, and you should look at give it a look, and which might be your lifesaver, okay, because that's important. I'll come to that slide just after that. So yeah, so what is the logs issue? So too many logs of course are not easy to read, because too big and too many it's not humanly possible. Now let me show you why I'm saying that. So let me show you. Let's cancel it and let's clear it. So where our logs, all the system logs are cd, like then var, then log. So in this folder, so let me just give you a root path. So var log, there you have like ls minus li. There you have all the log files. You can see ordinary log, Amazon, this upgrade, cloud init, whatever logs is supposed to be there is there. Now, since again the reading of these logs is not easy, but there are some command which make it more human readable. Okay, that's why coming is this. So there is a call called dmesg tail. Okay, so let me run that and let's see how it looks like. I think I've already run it, so I'll simply utilize that. Let me see. Yes, let's look at it. It is the nulling one, so let's look at other one. It helps you to read the log. Yeah, this one. So see, it makes it easy to read the logs, because otherwise go by line and all that kind of ways not that easy. There are like if you utilize the third party and standard solution, which will be coming shortly, there it's much more easily readable. Okay, but yeah, this is also good. Now let me go back to it. Yes, so that is that. Now let's come to the log rotation part. Now again, I told you right what is the reason of using the log rotation, because the problem here is that logs getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, you have to come with a strategy so that you can either delete, if you don't need it, then delete the log. If you need the important log, you must move that log to some cloud solution, say S3 or say GCP or Azure Blob Store, whatever it is you want to store, you should move there, because if in case it's important, if it's not important, that's okay, no problem. If it's important, then only move it. It's don't require. Okay. Now, in case you like want to organize properly, you want to restrict the size, because you cannot allow a log to become GBs like 1 GB, 2 GB. That's not the proper thing. You can utilize a log rotate, which will just rotate the log and it will keep make sure the size is limited. Now let me show you what I'm saying it. So in the log, if you don't know about log rotation, the log rotate part, let me show in the command line. So log rotate. Okay, let me see the maybe I'm doing some spelling mistake. So install log rotate. Yes, log rotate. Yes. So this command, there is a particular configuration. Uh, So this is the command log rotate, which will allow, like it will help you. And again, the process I've already given in the description. Like you will say you have a file slash you have a engine Apache, okay, and Apache generate the logs. So for Apache, what you can do, you can create in the etc like log rotate conf, and there you have to make sure that the log rotate that .d file, that line is uncommented, to make sure that is there. And after that you just create a one file, that is Apache see etc logrotate.d, and then inside the folder you or directory is a file apache.2.conf, and there you're configuring like what should be the rule for maintaining the Apache logs. Okay, so var log Apache is the folder where you have the all Apache related logs. So let me show you. So var log and sync, and there will be Apache, see Apache 2. There you have all these logs, right? Access, error log, or other vs logs. So all those logs, because we are mentioning here like star, see var log Apache star, that means all the logs files should rotate weekly. Rotate say 3 indicates the 3 rotated log should be kept, and size 10, it lets the minimum size of the rotation to take place is 10 m, and compress or decompress to tell that all rotated logs with the exception of the most recent one should be compressed. So all this kind of configuration, you can simply go to the documentation of log rotate and you can do all that. That's crazy helpful. Again, I will say, if it's important, just say 24 hours done, you are rotating 24 hours done. So daily move the logs to S3, for example, and there you can set as an intelligent tire, or maybe you can say the life cycle rule. If the logs should be deleted within 30 days, that will save the money and the storage space. So in the system, you should not keep anymore after one day. That's the standard practice. Okay. Now let's come to the final one: monitoring and alerting. Now, can you imagine in the late night, say 2 a.m., server have any problem? Do you even know that there's a problem because you're sleeping? Like you will not know. That is the reason that you need some solution to monitor 24/7. Even if you're sleeping, you are going to vacation, you still need to make sure that your solution running fine. And if there's any problem, some people, the team, the tech team, the operation team, the developer team has to get notified. Otherwise, how the fixing process will start, isn't it? So manually you cannot do. So you need a solution, monitor solution, monitoring solution 24/7, need to be alerted. If any problem happens, say any server going down, any problem happening, you need to make sure. Or maybe the CPU usage, like, okay, if you guys don't know about the auto scaling, I will say once that auto scaling, in case of like, auto scaling, what happens, you have your own say 2 or 3 instances running which is handling properly. Suddenly there is a spike happen, and all the resource utilization get increased. Okay, there has to be some alerting, and based on the alerting you add more instances. If there is not much usage, okay, only few people utilizing your services, there is no point running 10 servers, it has to come down. That case you should alert. Based on the alert it should go down. Okay, not just alerting your engineers and everyone, your system integration has to be in alert based system. Any low utilization or high utilization, you have to scale in or out according to that. Okay, that's also important for that also. And not just that, monitoring low usage resources so that you can sort of cut down the cost, you can terminate that. That is there. And they are like, there could be a lot of logs, right? And you cannot humanly read one by one and all that. Why not utilize the services or tools that are expert handling all these kind of logs? They can analyze the logs and you can tell on the logs, this is the problem. There it comes: Prometheus, Grafana, AWS CloudWatch, Dynatrace, Splunk, Neuralink, AppDynamics, Nagios, Datadog. These are the popular monitoring solutions. Okay, I forgot to include the Azure and GCP part, but no worries. In my next are the leaders handling like the logs, and then from the logs you do analysis and find out the root cause. It will present the data more beautiful UI than the command line and single line. It's much better in tabular format, or maybe some kind of analytic format or graph format. All that you can do by these tools. So for monitoring and alerting, these are very good. Even from these tools, you can check how much is the CPU usage, how much is the memory usage, how much is the network usage. All that you can uh, get that all the data using these tools. Most popular one is actually the Dynatrace and App Dynamics and Datadog. NGOs is open source. New Relic having some free quota, then they will also charge. Splunk is also good, like they improving. Grafana Prometheus is open source. So there are multiple kind of solution. Open source, paid, proprietary. Suppose in a cloud, say AWS. There you might be better to utilize the AWS cloud because it's more natively integrated, and then it will sometimes having good free quota. You don't even have to pay for it. It's coming, if it's coming under free, you can simply utilize the services for free. So think about utilizing these tools based on your requirement. Okay, now it's time to check the, I think this is done. So like explaining that how it should, like the problem you can check and then debug and all that, I've explained that. There is no problem. Now any more question other than this what I've covered, or maybe whatever I've covered, if you have any queries, feel free to ask in the comment section. Now I'll go to all the comments and then we'll answer all that. Okay, so let's get started. The very first one, let's keep it aside. I'll come, like whoever given the first comment, I will go from there. That way, they will be in the kind of list. So cancel the adda for this session. Thank you very much. I hope you find, hope you find this session useful. Okay. So which DevOps tool to start with? What do you suggest? So I have shown the Ansible, like Terraform, Ansible, and all that. If you want to try out the infrastructure code part, then try the Terraform. If you want to do the configuration management, start with the Ansible. Okay, that's how you should start. It's a great start. I'm already kind of done. But thank you. I think I did read the message already. I already there's a bash pygo. So yeah, for the automation part, if you want to write automation script and mail delivered or some kind of things, some processing needs to happen based on some kind of event. Those kind of scripting, to do the scripting part, you can place bash, Python, and Go. I will suggest bash is the mandatory part. If you're good at bash, some complicated scenario are there, which is like by just using shell is not possible anymore. In those cases, just giving example, you have to make complex database queries. Okay, then you have to use a programming language, because I'm not sure that I've seen much companies or database solution give the command line advanced querying and all. Mostly in programming language, you can do all that very flexibly. So that's the reason that you need it. So Angelika, good evening. Good evening, Angelika. And if it's included in EFS file system also, how to check? Yeah, see, if it's, even if you mounted that EFS in the system, in the Linux system, in a DF, when you do DFMNS H, it will show you anyway. So it will work. YouTube or anything need to image copying. Again, I think I covered this one because I noticed that one. Look, you cannot copy the that server, cloud server image to the local VM. What you can do, you can do the containerization, because when you do the containerization, you can have the kind of similar to local VM container image, and that container image, that container image will be same wherever you run. So that's the right way. Now it's Shubrat Mahanti saying that suppose your disk space is showing 50% free, but you are not able to create a file. What would be the reason? Now, suppose the file system is 50% and you're trying to create, but it's not working. The most possible reason is you don't have the authority or access. So there are kind of multiple type: the owner, the group, and the kind of others or other groups. Okay. Now, suppose you are in the other group and that particular file system is only restricted to the root or say particular other group, and you're not in that group. So you don't have the access. That's why you're not able to create it. That will be the common reason. Okay. Any good courses DevOps in Udemy? Please suggest me. I know a lot, but I'm also making a full DevOps course. Hopefully, it will be an awesome one that I'm developing along with the Go Cloud Architects It's going good. I have already made, I think last week I made then again re-recording to improve the quality. This week also I'm recording 2 3 videos, already two done, and one will I'll record today, maybe tomorrow morning, and then it is successfully going process well. After 3 months, I will have the course. Till then, you can in my YouTube library there is DevOps with AWS. You can follow that one. Even there are a lot of DevOps tools also I've covered, like Terraform or other GitHub actions. You can follow that. In Udemy, you can just go with any course that have the most views and most rating. You can go with that. Okay. Yes, can you get the record link for this? Yeah, this is the link you are watching, right? Use the same link because that will be the recorded. Give it some 30 40 minutes to YouTube will do the processing. Then you can watch it again. No problem. Okay, that's not a problem. It happens. You can simply do that. Okay. Does companies experience single resource to work on both cloud and DevOps engineer? That's a very, I will say, very important question. Now, what you have to think about the responsibilities. Sometime, even I think not just sometime, most times yes, because as a DevOps engineer, suppose you're a DevOps engineer. Now there is no DevOps without cloud and no cloud with DevOps. If you want to become a DevOps engineer, if you are a DevOps engineer, you have to deal with the cloud. You have to dynamically create the cloud resources, dynamically delete it using the infrastructure code. You can, like, debug the system and do all that stuff, right? You need to have great understanding about the computes. You have to have the great understanding about the storage. You have to have great understanding about the networking. These three are the code parts, and addition to that, some services here and there, it will be enough for the intermediate. But if you are working for you are a senior, very most senior person, and you are making complex solution, you must have a great deal of knowledge in one particular platform, whatever your choice or maybe you're working on. And other platform, just overview knowledge, maybe comparison level knowledge of one cloud to another cloud, that will be enough. Okay. So yes, if you want to become a DevOps engineer, it's kind of mandatory these days to have cloud knowledge. But if you are a cloud engineer or maybe a cloud solution architect, you don't need, it's not mandatory to know about the DevOps skills and tools. Okay. So that's up to you. Okay, it's question that Shank, for the thanks to your videos given by the community. How to start debugging when your application is facing slowness and what are the steps? Now, for the slowness application, it most probably your applications utilizing more CPU, or maybe in your Linux computers, some programs are utilizing a lot of CPU and memory resources. Find out, I've shown the CPU part, that is this. Let me go back. Yes, you can see the CPU and high memory CPU, that causes the application to slow down. Simply go to htop and find out which application or process, whatever it is, slowing down your system, utilizing most of the CPU and the memory, and you know the root cause. Now fix it. Okay, so that's there. I think, wow, I have already covered most of the questions. So again, guys, it's not even 8:30 yet. So if you have any questions, do let me know. I don't. I think there should be a lot of questions to you guys. Okay, so feel free to ask. Once since like maybe if someone is asking question, let's wait for that. Until then, let me explain another scenario. Suppose, say you're working on multi-cloud. Okay, and in those cases, maybe the logs coming from multi-cloud, right? in in this kind of scenario, don't go for the proprietary solution. In this kind of cases, go for the third party or maybe open source solution, where you can collect log from all of the clouds, and then in a central area do the debugging. Okay. That should be the right way, because most people don't know it. They just get locked down with others, and that's a problem. Okay. So it's Mahesh Reddy again saying that Sandeep, make that make sense. Recently, I've started on LinkedIn. So going LinkedIn, it was great learning. Thank you, and I really love to share the knowledge. And whenever I get chance, I do this. And oh yeah, I think good news, you guys, that I'm just getting a new Mac, which will make my life a little bit easier, because this Max is kind of giving up. it's not able to process all that. If I just start another program, the video and everything will start lagging. So I'm getting a new Mac that is a 64 GB of unified memory, and I think uh, 10 core 10 core CPU, M1 Max one I'm getting. So hopefully that will help me in my workflows. Let's see. I will give a review of that also. So okay, sorry for the question relevant. Okay, no, it's not relevant, John. It's good. Sorry, the question: how to get hands-on system design on distributed system. So first thing is that you have to first get the like how I learn it. I would say first I go through all the articles. So related, I go to the top. I search in the Google as top article related to the system or distributed system, whatever is the query. Then I read all by that. I then understand good practices for the distributed system or the system design. That's how I get the initial one. Understand what it is, what is the topic. Then the next step what I do, I go to YouTube or maybe in the Udemy, or sometime if you have the paid subscription with any provider, I have one with the Cloud Guru. So I go to Cloud Guru and search with a particular and see there is any course or not. If it's there, I do it. Otherwise, YouTube or here and there kind of thing I just take care of. Okay, so that's how I normally learn all these kind of things. Okay, it's one question that system information disabled due to the high load higher than 2.0. Okay. See, for this case, what you should be doing that, see, for now, this is because you don't have a gradual tracking. Like if you use a cloud watch, you can see the history, like which point of time, what was the CPU usage. Similar kind of tools you should install to find out why it's increasing. And at that moment, if you use kind of application monitoring tool such as Neural Lake, Datadog, whatever shown in the last slide, that is this slide. So let me show you, because you have to find out the root cause, right? So to use, I think Neuralink is a very good one for this particular use case that you're showing. Like no CPU and no CPU shortage, memory high switches. You can find out what's problem happening. I think since you're saying that no CPU storage and memory, could be the database part where you are making the query. If there is any, that could be the problem, or the application itself might be not that optimized. That's why it's creating the problem, or maybe it's not utilized the multi-core like multi-threading. That could be one problem. So check that. What is the root cause? Root cause analysis is important here. Most cases, I think if you use this kind of tool, Neural Lake, or say Dynatrace, or say this kind of solutions, it will be helping you to find out. Okay. Now that is there. I don't see any more questions. Good. Great. Okay, see. Could you please share some light on the what is Lambda is to, and what some of the good use cases it could be? See, Lambda is actually very good one. So I will just tell you. Okay. So Lambda is a serverless solution. What is serverless? It's not about no server. It's there are server when you need, you are running some you okay, you have one particular programming or code. Okay, you have to write as a function. When you want to execute the function in the some server somewhere, that program getting pulled there and running, as soon as the program execution is done, like it's giving the response, process is what's supposed to process, you're stopping the program, and then the server is like that program is going out of the server. So there is no more, just the time where you're running and how much time it run, that is the part you are getting built. And the moment the program execution is done, you are no more getting built. That is a serverless. So you are utilizing server, yes, you are still utilizing a server, but less. That is the reason it's called serverless. That's the reason there is some AWS giving as a Lambda in if you go to Azure or GCP, there is thing called Azure. There is Azure function in GCP. There is Google Cloud service, Google Cloud. There is a GCP functions. So all cloud have their own solution. Okay, that's what it is. Good use case. What will be a good use case? That is very common one should be, say you upload a file. Okay, some event happening, and you are supposed to do anything. Suppose one file getting uploaded, image, say my image or maybe my video, this recording get uploaded in S3. It's supposed to kind of do multiple, like it has multiple video formatting need to be generated. That triggering part, as soon as the file uploaded, then and that the processing is beginning. That part you can trigger via the Lambda. Okay, so Lambda you can do as that, and not just that. I mean, there are a lot of use cases. I just give you a very common one. Another very good one that I worked in multiple production system, that is I developed using serverless framework, Lambda, like the serverless framework plus AWS Lambda, and I developed APIs. So some user from say mobile application want some data or submit some data, it will come to the Lambda function that is hosted in AWS, in of course in Lambda, as a Lambda application. It triggering the Lambda function, like passing the values via the API gateway. It go to the Lambda. In Lambda is processing, and as soon as the sending request is done, the function is stopped. Okay, so you can see there is the very good use case of API as API. As soon as, like, whenever you need it, you are getting use. If you don't, if you just suppose there is not much user utilizing is, the bill is also crazy low. Okay, that's the very good use case here. So and then see, that's just a simple one, but there's a lot of. Okay. Uh, so yeah, my old friends are going good. So मेरा भाई ये आपकी लाइन पे चले आइए. Awesome. Okay, so Angelica is saying use of Angelica and use of Ansible and Scandius. So Ansible is a configuration management, but nowadays, due to some predefined playbooks and all, you can do a lot more stuff with Ansible than you're supposed to do. Okay, so Ansible, what is the main reason was some configuration management, some patching and all. You configure, and suppose you have 100 servers, okay, or maybe 1,000 servers. You can not manually update the dependencies or do some configuration or file change like that, right? You cannot do manually. Then comes the Ansible. You can configure Ansible and all this group of instances, just the references or the key you need to access. That's it. You want to execute one particular Linux command to all the 1,000 servers, you can do that easily via the Ansible. Similar way, you want to pass one file as a configuration file and update the instances, whatever you want to do via the Linux scripting. You can do all that easily via the Ansible playbook. Okay. Now, again, thank you. Okay. Now let's see. Hey, Mayur, thank you. No, I always happy to help other people. Okay, so there's nothing new about that. One question is that can you integrate API gateway with Okata OpenID provider? I think yes. You can use some anyway. You have to utilize some libraries or say modules for that. Whatever programming language you want, you can simply integrate it. That's not an issue. Okay, you can do that. One good question is there. John asking that I get confused between the API gateway and the load balancer. Can't we use just the load balancer itself rather than having both? Now you have to understand one thing very carefully. Okay, serverless and like compute server based. Okay, serverless and server based, or you can say what you're constantly running, what you're running sometime, and then you're not running. That kind of the time when you're running, you're paying, not running, not paying is serverless. You're utilizing this server, and something you're constantly running is a normal server based things. Okay, or normal service or resources utilizing. Now, API gateway is a serverless. Whenever you're utilizing it, triggering, like you're triggering the API, utilizing the API gateway, some path and all, then only might be paying something. Okay, but load balancer once you create, it's the continuous running service. It's continuously running. It's not serverless. You have to pay for how many times you run. That's one of the major difference. Okay, understand that. Now after that, okay, after that, if you see that there are some restrictions are there, not just some, there are a lot of restrictions here. Okay, in load balancer, not much because you can run, so you can wait up to even 5-10 minutes, not a problem. But in the API gateway, the response is supposed to come within 29 seconds. And then if it's not, then the API gateway will give a request timeout. So if there is a workflow that sometime the response might come few like in a minutes or more than 29, then API gateway is not the case. So find out the why you should use the API gateway and the load balancer. Based on that, in the API gateway, you can configure the pathings, get call, post call, put call, all this API mapping path. But the load balancer is not for that. Load balancer is just load balancer. It will balance the load. It will balance the load to the targets that you assign. So suppose one request coming to load balancer, let's see what are the available like what are the configured path for the load to forward to the particular target group. We'll simply forward the load to the particular target group. But API gateway is not that. API gateway can like whatever resource you have, it will map the path to the API path parameter. So get call, put call, whatever is the API path. Then it will forward that to email proxy or the normal. It will pass to the particular resource. Could be Lambda, could be load balancer, whatever you're supposed you set that. So you have to think what is the use case. Then only you should select within that. The most confusion part is that the API path. But see, API gateway is API for API mapping and pathing. Load balancer is to balance the load. It's the most common. It's the most important difference. Okay. Uh, okay. Is it Ansible? Okay, Ansible Tower and Ansible are different. See, Ansible Tower, I think the paid version. Ansible is a free version. Paid version, of course, something extra will come. Similar to just as the example I will be giving. If it's say Terraform, okay, Terraform have a normal kind of open source version that you can customly configure and then it's a custom backend you can set. In the Terraform Cloud, it's a paid version. They are giving the cloud version, the cloud backend, the cost prediction and all. So all the paid service provider have they give their own solution. Okay, extra but so it's not it's kind of same, just some additional features, maybe enterprise level features is getting given by them. Okay. Okay. Sai Kumar, how to get any technology? How to get into any technology to get a job? I have 6 years experience, 2 years as Oracle DBA at first, and 4 years non-technical sign and change management. But now I want to move to AWS job, please. That's kind of, I will not say it's impossible. No, it's quite possible, but you have to work hard than the other people because the competition is getting tough. Okay, if it was a 4 or 5 year back, it would have been no problem. But right now, more and more people came, so competition is very high on the AWS or GCP, whatever cloud you want to go is there. So, what are the skills that you must learn to get a job? Of course, you must choose a certification path, and for this use case, you might want to go for the solution architect. Okay, first start with the practitioner, then solution architect, and then the professions. It will take time. 1 year, we will have enough. Then just maybe within 1 or 2 months, you get the associate certification and try to get a job. If you try very hard for 1 or 2 months, you'll get an initial level um, job. But the problem is you have experience. Okay, so you have to get a job where you can utilize your experience and get a good salary. Okay, and it's a tech job. For you, it's solution architect, but you have to actually go a little via. So, what is little via? The via part is that you might have to join a farm, say their APN partner, or they have heavy AWS load going on, or maybe some cloud farm. Then you walk there for a few months, say, talk with the internal HR team, try to convince them. You are technically like show them your skills, show them that your certification, because APN partners having certificates with the engineers matters. And that might be a kind of good backdoor entry for you. Okay, so think about that. I think it's already 8:30, and I have answered a lot of questions also. If anyone have any more question, they can always in the comment down. They can just simply do it. Okay, two more questions. Okay, I will answer them before actually ending session. So Venkat sizing, bro, I need help for deploying ECS with Jenkins. In my go to my video library, there is already ECS with Jenkins available. You can follow that; it will be enough. Okay, so no worries. So is was Vanshik Jwasla saying that bro Linux hai kya? So like you have Windows, okay, like everyone at like normal people who don't know Linux must have Windows. That's the kind of analogy I know. So just like Windows, you have for programmers or say in the cloud OS, it's like so much kind of computer intensive more than the application development part. Okay, those people utilize the Linux system. So why Linux? No more fancy UI, so no more process just dedicated for the UI. That's one of the reason. And it's dedicated to a particular party. It's highly customizable OS. You can use whatever way you like. Okay, so uh, that is it. It's simple, another OS, but you have to be a pro to utilize it. That's the point. So what I'm saying that learn it. You have to learn it well before doing anything. In Windows is very easy. In Mac also kind of easy, but in the Linux you have to get used to it. You need real skills to utilize it. That's the part. Okay, guys, I will just end it today. And if anyone have any questions, they can simply reach out to my LinkedIn or in this video comment. Just simply comment down, and I will definitely look at that. Okay, and if you're not subscribed the channel yet, do subscribe the channel. There is a site called learn.sandeepdas.in. If you go there, you can see all my videos are categorized like very good UI. Even the UI may be good better than the YouTube UI. So you might want to try that. Okay. 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 So go there. Any more question? Ping me on LinkedIn. Okay. Or maybe you can see my email ID is there. So contact at the you can mail me. Okay, guys. Bye. Have a nice weekend and like, keep learning, keep growing. And I like if you are like my things are helping you guys, do let me know. It make me happy. Okay. Bye.